that we are privileged to meet on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Squamish and the Scotley Nation. We have an agenda recommendation.
That the amended agenda of this meeting be approved.
Thank you, Melissa. And a second. Thank you, Lisa.
So welcome.
Okay, we have another recommendation. I think Lisa was going to jump in. Go ahead, Lisa.
Sure. The minutes of the board meeting held on April 8th, 2026 be adopted.
Thank you, Lisa. And a second. Thank you, Melissa. All in favor? And that's carried. Next recommendation, please.
That the summary minutes of the in-camera board meeting held on April 8th, 2026 be adopted.
Thank you,
Second.
Melissa. Second.
Lisa did.
Thank you, Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Moving down to announcements, I don't have any chairperson's remarks. Do we have any trustee remarks? Wow. Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
I just wanted to thank Ballycliffe Elementary and Garibaldi Highlands Elementary for having us come in and do their school learning plans. It's always really wonderful to come into the schools and see the kids and everybody in there. So thank you to them for taking the time.
And Lisa.
Yeah, I would also like to echo that with Melissa. We attended together, and also thank you to all the staff and students at Pemberton Senior Secondary School. I was able to attend their school-based learning plan, and some great things are in store for students in the coming future, as well as currently, of course. And I'd also like to mention that I represented the school board at the Day of Mourning ceremony in Squamish. So it was a somber event, and many people gathered, and we paid our respects to those who have lost their lives in occupational injury, and had some amazing speeches from the VDLC, and a mother who lost her son in a tragic tugboat incident. So just wanted to let you know that that occurred at the end of April. And that was all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Celeste.
Yeah, thanks so much, April. I had the privilege of going to Brackendale Elementary and Squamish Elementary with Cynthia, who may say a few words. And I just wanted to report out also on the April 20th DPAC meeting, which I'm sure Chris will be able to speak to if he'd like to. I don't think the minutes have actually been distributed yet, and normally I rely on them for reporting out. But just from the agenda, we had a very long discussion actually about regional transit, based on the discussion that we had with our MLA. And so, you know, Jen Ford was there, which was really helpful because she's been on the Regional Transit Committee. So very longer discussion than I was expecting. And the other thing that I wanted to note from that meeting is that we had parents come from Spring Creek Community School to discuss French immersion at that school and to raise their questions. And so it was nice to see those parents there, and Chris did a good job of providing information. So that's it for me.
Cynthia, go ahead.
Sure. I'll just also thank the staff and the students from Brackendale, Mamclam, Squamish Elementary, and Spring Creek for all of the great information and hard work that they put into presenting their school learning plans. It was a lovely time to be able to go there and to experience all the good work that is happening there. And just viewing that for yourself is really heartwarming, because the professionalism from all of the teachers and all of the staff at those schools is really evident. And I just also like to give a quick shout out to Whistler Secondary School, who had 4 sold out performances of the high school presentation of the musical Mean Girls. So I think that deserves a little bit of congratulations. And also the Whistler Secondary School Film Festival, I think is tonight, or maybe it's next Wednesday night. I knew there was a reason why I couldn't make it, but I will be excited to see if any of those films pop up on some sort of an online platform, or you can watch them later sort of thing. It's a film festival that's been going on for, I think this is its 3rd year, and it's fabulous. So keep your eyes open for those films.
Okay, I'm just gonna add one piece that nobody mentioned, and I probably should have been my chairperson's remarks, is that we did have an opportunity as all the partner groups to work on our ed plan, our strategic plan. It
Well,
was
we have a
great
section on here.
all-day session, so thank you to all the people that worked
The section on
to do that.
it's under 6A.
Okay, all right, so any other comments under trustee remarks?
Oh, I might add one thing. Many of the trustees were able to attend the BC Trustee Association's annual general meeting this past month. And it's an opportunity to do quite a bit of advocacy work. And some of that advocacy was about improving or stabilizing funding for childcare initiatives. And at one point, we had heard that there would be no additional funding for childcare initiatives. And we've recently heard that there is an application open for funding that could help support, tell me if I'm wrong, but help support startup costs and some operational costs. And that there's applications open for that. And our district has the opportunity to apply for that funding. And hopefully we are able to secure that and thus be able to open a few more spaces of after-school childcare.
Okay, Cynthia. Okay, seeing no more trustee hands up, I'll turn it over to the superintendent's remarks.
All right, thank you very much. I actually have a lot of remarks. I'm going to condense some of them down. I think what I'll share to start is I really encourage folks that they haven't had a chance yet, anybody listening, please jump onto our district website. Things that are highlighted each month throughout the month are posted there. But I would also really encourage folks to check out their if they've got kids in the system, their child's or their neighborhood schools websites, because folks do post some fantastic things happening across all of our sites. As we near the end of the school year in a month or so, lots and lots of great things are happening. The weather is also really conducive to lots of great opportunities, field trips, things like that. So I would encourage folks to check out those websites. May is also a month, and again, thank you for Lisa for mentioning the day of mourning for workers injured or killed on the job. May is also full of lots of observances that we make, and again that we share it in our calendar. But I do want to just share a few. That May 5th was Red Dress Day, the National Day of Awareness and Action honoring missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited peoples. And I know many of our sites honored that day in various ways. It's important to just state as a district that of course we stand with Indigenous communities in remembrance and allyship, and we encourage sort of district. Not just on May 5th, but always. You mentioned childcare. I think I'd like to point out that May is actually Childcare Appreciation Month, and as we are now the Ministry of Education and Childcare, just a shout out to all the folks in our system that do support childcare efforts that we're making across our district. And I know we thank the folks that provide the service, but I just want to do a special shout out to the custodians and school staff who ensure that those places are clean and ready to receive those kids, and all the work that goes into this new initiative across the province and across our district. And just to assure the public, you know, we are committed to doing this and doing our best in the context that we have, and hopefully by the June board meeting we'll be able to make some announcements in terms of our application for increased spaces. As equally important, May 4th to 10th marked Canada Mental Health Week. And again, we provided links on the page. And just a reminder again to folks for both staff, for families, for students. We do provide a number of resources and links to supports. And that I know we're all committed to really ensuring that mental wellness is something that we take just as seriously as physical wellness, that we talk about it in the open as warranted, and that ensuring, safe, caring, and mentally supportive, healthy, mostly places for staff, families, and students is something we continue to work on. On May 31st, we'll be starting National Accessibility Week. So that's a week inspired by Rick Hansen's Man in Motion tour. So I'm sure many of us around the room still recall when Rick Hansen first went on that journey. And that we continue to, honor that work, but also continue our efforts to increase, sustain accessibility across our district. And again, we do have a nice opportunity to remind people that we have an online feedback tool, looking at input from folks if they do identify barriers in our system, so that we can do our best to address those accessibility issues across our school sites. And maybe the last thing I'll mention is I just want to share that our commitment to taking care of one another, mental health is again, I mentioned, extends to staff as well. I know that the Teachers Association put on a beautiful day of learning and support around mental health through a presenter facilitator who's credited with Compassionate Systems Leadership, which is a initiative we've been supporting the last couple of years. That was Lisa Bayless. And I want to share that Lisa Bayless has been working with all of our educational leadership team. So all the folks who are leaders in their buildings and at school sites. She kicked us off in August for an in-person all-day session on self-regulation strategies, on recognizing our own triggers and how to address those so that we can be our best selves when we're in front of the classroom, in front of the public, working with each other. We worked with her throughout the year through 6 virtual sessions, and we had our culminating day with her last Thursday in person to cap off the day and leaving us with again a series of self-regulation practices, some mindfulness activities, and really to focus on that leadership piece so that our folks can be in their building sort of helping to support that work with the adults that they serve. So it seems fitting given we're talking about mental health and whatnot. So I think I'll leave it there. Thank you so much. No, I'm not going to leave it there. I do need to thank you for the reminder, Celeste. I do want to thank the PAC. We have one more meeting coming up, the DPAC. We missed not to thank them for their engagement all year and some specific examples of the support for accessibility. I know they're working hard to ensure, and we've had folks from DPAC on our accessibility committee, which is a lovely additional contribution. They're always ready, willing, and able to step up and provide input when we ask, such as our district's budgeting plan, and they've been involved, of course, as part of the working group for the new strategic plan. So I do want to take that opportunity to thank them. I know a number of them will be leaving us as their kids graduate. So rather than wait till June, I think I'll share my gratitude to them now. And now I'm ready to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle, Secretary Treasurer's remarks.
I don't have anything other than to say questions of clarification from the public can be sent to board@sd48.bc.ca, or if you have a person that has questions, we can respond.
Okay, that brings us to our student staff presentations, and the first one up is Wonder Child, project at Spring Creek Elementary School, and I see Robin Kirk is online. Oh, there she is.
Hello, Robin. Hello, Heather.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna get Heather joining us. And she's
To
gonna
our
start.
guest
Heather,
with
do you
us,
have control of
We
the
won't be
slide?
offended if you turn your back to see the big screen.
I don't think I have control of the slide, but that's okay. We can just say next slide. Does
Okay,
that
that works for me.
Heather, I didn't hear you.
She's just talking about you.
Okay.
okay? So hi everyone. Thank you for having us on. Robin and I are here to talk about something that we call learning alongside. We want to begin with a land acknowledgement. I'm calling in today from the beautiful territory of the Squamish peoples. Wesley's here with me today, and both of us are so grateful for the care and stewardship that the Squamish people have done so beautifully and wisely since time immemorial, so that we can enjoy the space where we live and our connection to land. And my role is District Vice Principal of Early Learning and Childcare. And Robin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Robin Kirk, and I am the principal here at Spring Creek Community School. And we're really fortunate to be here on the shared territory of both the Scohomish and Lil'wat people. We've really been enjoying learning from our local Indigenous elders, and we've recently been connecting with a lot of our youth ambassadors here on the land. In fact, last Friday, we spent time with 2 of our youth ambassadors who are from the Squamish Nation. And they took us on a bit of a tour of some of the area up above the gondola in Squamish and told us some stories and helped us learn about the land up there and some of the legends that are happening. So we've been really fortunate to reconnect not only with these youth ambassadors, but they're also kids who over the last 10 years have been through our middle school, elementary, middle school, and high schools, have graduated, and now are working with the SLCC in a variety of capacities, both educating us as teachers and leaders in the school district. So we're really fortunate to have that connection to both the land and the people up here.
Next slide. So Robin and I connected about this time last year, and I think both of us felt a desire to work together in some capacity. We weren't really sure what that would look like. For a couple years now, I've been participating alongside Dixie Cameron, one of our instructional leadership team members, in Changing Possibilities for Young Children, which is a ministry initiative that has taken place across BC for numerous years. There's been many folks that have led that work, including the late Maureen Dockendorf. And this work was around centering social emotional learning. And so thinking about one child in particular who we might call a wonder child, and someone that makes us wonder. And through that initiative, educators are encouraged to choose one social emotional faucet, and the faucets are listed here: building relationships, kindness and empathy, personal well-being, sense of identity, self-regulation, contributing to the learning community, and sense of agency. And so in getting to know their wonder child, educators sort of choose one of these faucets to focus on for the year, and really look closely and observe and listen to and engage in conversation with that wonder child and their family to truly understand who they are and how to best support them in their learning and in their life. And so this program or initiative, the funding for it ended recently, but Dixie and I were keen to continue this work, and not only continue this work, but reimagine it in a way, because as we know, this sort of approach and lens is not just good and beneficial for early learners, it should be for all learners. And so it just seemed like a good connection. Robin and I chatted about it, and she was keen to work together on this. And so we've called it Learning Alongside. And we've sort of been working through it together this year with her whole staff. We take time at staff meetings to engage in this learning together, and some professional development time as well. So next slide. Dixie and I sort of worked on how can we build on this social emotional learning focus. And so we expanded it to not only include social emotional learning, but Indigenous perspectives and universal design as well. So next slide. One of the things that Robin and I spoke about early on as I was getting to know her and her staff and her context is Robin expressed a real interest and commitment to truth and reconciliation, and really supporting her staff with weaving in Indigenous ways and finding other ways to support learning for both adults and children. The staff had expressed that they missed having the Indigenous support workers at the school and just needed a little bit of nudging and support to engage in this work. So one of the things we started with was Circle. And so we met with the staff and met in Circle. I shared some of the Indigenous ways of knowing and being with Circle that I had been taught, as well as some Métis specific teachings that I had. And we talked to the staff about the importance of us beginning staff meetings in Circle, but also what this might look like in their classroom with the kids. And next slide. This work is grounded in the strength-based lens, really seeing the potential in all our learners, and just that understanding that all children are born precious and sacred. So when things are challenging, really keeping this in mind that children are a gift, and we should be asking curious questions and wonderings. So we engage the staff in thinking about, what do you know about who your wonder child is? What are their gifts, strengths, passions, and interests? And what does your wonder child care deeply about? Next slide. We wanted to engage in a bit of an inquiry process that was cyclical and wanted to keep it connected to the early learning framework as well as the spiral of inquiry. So this is sort of the cycle that we introduced. So we were going to start with noticing and wondering about our wonder child, listening and documenting, and so collecting artifacts, whether that be quotes, work from the child, photos, videos, conversations with families, and then getting together at staff meetings and sharing that those artifacts and that documentation and talking that through, and then reflecting on the process and responding with next steps, cycling back to more noticing and wondering. Next slide. And so we engage staff in questions like, who's catching your attention, who seems to go unnoticed, and who stretches you? Next slide. We leaned on Linda Kaiser and Judy Halbert's spiral of inquiry work and focused on these 3 key questions to guide our learning. So what's going on for your wonder child? How do you know? And why does it matter? Next slide. We also used Ann Pilo's work from this book, From Teaching to Thinking. And this is something that Dixie Cameron and I had done previously with some folks in our district. And Robin did a beautiful job of engaging her staff in thinking about when you're sharing something about your wonder child, try to refrain from any sort of judgment, bias, jumping to conclusions, and just really talk about, you know, what you saw or heard and what you made it think and what you might wonder. And then the folks that were in that conversation also answered those prompts. Next slide. We also used Monique Graysmith's work with her storybook, I Hope, and really getting staff to think about What are the possibilities for this child? Like, if you could really dream big about what's most important, what would be your hope for this child? Maybe this year, maybe by the end of their elementary school years, maybe going into high school and beyond, and really just thinking about what matters most. Next slide. And I'm going to turn it over to Robin to share some work that we did recently to collect educator voice on this process and their learning and their experience.
Thanks so much, Heather. So the slide that you see here and the questions that are being asked, what have you learned from your Wonder Child? What is the social emotional growth that you've seen? What are you taking away with you as an educator over this past year? And what's next? So this was the 8th staff meeting that we had been focusing on a Wonder Child. So this is kind of like a bit of a culminating activity at the end for us to kind of reflect. So every single staff meeting we've done circle and talked about our kids. Some meetings we've asked staff to bring some evidence or some artifacts. And so for this staff meeting, we asked them to bring some of the most recent artifacts, whether it's digital or in paper. And then we gave them these questions and asked them to create a slide about their Wonder Child. So the next almost 20 slides are the different slides that each staff member created. And so I'm not going to go through every single slide because we don't have time for that, but I'm going to say next slide a lot. But if you can pause right there, this is the first slide that I'm going to just share a few things that were really important that came up. And then I'll share a few things at the very end once we've gone through all the slides. So here's an example of everyone in the school is involved. Every adult is involved. This is a staff member who is new to us. They're a teacher candidate. And even they, in the last few months, were able to kind of jump in at every staff meeting and participate. They found a kid that they wanted to focus on, that they noticed didn't really seem to want to learn. And they made an effort over the course of the months that they've been here to really create a variety of different environments for the student and to connect to the student until they could find where they shone. And so EAs were involved, our librarian, even our clerical and myself, we all participated in that. And I think that when we're learning something new or learning new things together, it's really important that I encourage everybody to participate. If you can go 2 more slides ahead. And you can go slow through the slides. We don't let the last one is great too. The next one after this, nope, if you can go back to, sorry, it doesn't really matter, but even our librarian had a great kind of conversation with the staff, with the whole staff, as we were doing these slides about how even when you only see kids once a week, there's still a lot of value in being curious about one particular Wonder Child. And she shared that with everyone, that at the beginning, she was a little hesitant and wondered how she would be able to do this if she doesn't see the student every day. And just a willingness of everyone to be able to participate regardless of what their role in the school is. If you can go ahead 5 slides, we'll see if we land on the right one. You can go slow too, just so people can see. You'll see a real big trend on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you can pause here. Thank you to whoever is doing that, by the way. I feel like I'm just making demands and I don't know who's doing that, but thanks. So I just wanted to stop here and give an example. So you saw at the beginning, Heather mentioned that there were 7 facets of social emotional learning. And in the beginning, we shared with each other which ones we had chosen and why we had chosen those for our wonder child. And what was interesting to see and was quite common in our conversations over the year at each staff meeting was that what people had selected initially changed over time based on what they learned about their wonder child. So this particular teacher had noticed that this particular kid was struggling with some self-regulation, and so thought that that might be an area of focus. In the end, what they discovered was that it was rooted in a sense of kind of negative self-identifying. So they were always focused on what they were struggling with rather than what their gifts were. And so the teacher spent a lot of time over the last many months working with that kid to identify, just because math is an area that they might struggle in, does not mean that they are a struggling student or a difficult human being. And so she really worked with that kid to identify things like, I am a good friend, I am a good leader, I am willing to work with younger students and help them out. I think that shift of picking a social emotional learning facet to focus on initially, and being willing to flex and move with what they learn about the student and maybe what's underlying, was a really common theme that both this teacher and several other teachers shared with us through the course of this particular process. Can you move 3 slides ahead slowly, please? So I'm just going to pause here. One of the conversations that came up at our last staff meeting as we were sharing our slides, which I thought was a real shift from the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, staff were really, and they shared openly that they were really uncomfortable in circle talking to their colleagues in front of everybody. So it's one of the reasons that I think Circle is so valuable. They felt very comfortable using in their class, and many of the staff were using Circle either before the day or as the day begins, at the end of the day. Teachers sometimes do both, and they do it every day. So Circle was used, is used all of the time in the classes, but it wasn't something that the staff were actually comfortable using with themselves. So, and that seemed to be a common sentiment at the beginning of the year. And now we've got kind of a rapport with each other, because staff all know that we always start every staff meeting in Circle. We're always focused on our wonder child. We bring things to share with each other. We talk about what we've learned. And at our last staff meeting, there was lots of great kind of aha moments or things that people were willing to share. And one of the things that came up here was a staff member just shared that, honestly, in the beginning of the year, when she picked her wonder child, she was really worried about this kiddo, and for various reasons, didn't think that either the student was capable or she was capable of actually having much of an impact. And so they openly said, like, I realize now that that was my bias. I realize I made kind of an assumption based on very little information about this new kiddo at the beginning of the year. And I think that was really brave of her to just stand up in front of all of her peers. But I think it's a testament to doing this whole process and how the professional dialogue changes, how people's comfort level with each other changes when you focus on a kiddo and share that with each other on a regular basis. And if you can go ahead 3 more slides slowly, please, that would be great. So this is the last slide. It's definitely not the best one. This is mine. And I just feel like it's really important as a leader to always be, if I'm asking my staff to do something difficult, or if I'm asking them to learn something new, or try something new in this case, then I think it's really important that I actually do the learning and the work alongside and with them. When I first heard about this, it was when I had the opportunity to work at Signal Hill last year, and learned from Dixie what she was in the middle of doing. And she was talking about her wonder child. And I was like, who is that? And why do you have one? And tell me more. And it really, learning about having a wonder child really made me stop and think back to all of my years as a principal, and how sometimes I have spent lots of time with staff, like unpacking data. Who are the kids that are struggling? What are we going to do about it? And how are we going to move them forward? And I think what I've learned a lot about in this process is there are other ways to support kids. It's not just about focusing on who's not there yet and how fast can we get them ahead. I've learned a lot from Heather, working alongside her around the importance of meeting kids where they're at. And I think that all of the benefits we've had as professionals in doing this have been wonderful. But what's really cool to see at this point, 8, 9, 10 months after we've been focusing on one particular kiddo, there are 20 kids now in this school and more who have benefited from this work. And I think there are way more benefits to this than just those kids that we may have selected in the beginning. So I'm super thrilled, and I'm really grateful to be able to work with Heather on this project. We kind of feel like this year we've just kind of learned as we went into each stage. But as a staff, we're looking forward to continuing the work and doing that again next year. We're not exactly sure how that's going to work. We wonder, how would we pass on this valuable information that we've learned about our wonder child to the next teacher, what that might look like. But we're excited about what we've done, and people are very committed. As you can see, like every staff meeting, people are keen to share and bring artifacts and participate. So I'm really happy about the opportunity to work with Heather and to do the work with the staff here. And that is it. I think you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, so just Robin shared some reflections and next steps, and just to close off, I'll share as well, like I've learned so much from Robin and from this process. As we've talked about with the staff, inquiry has no clean beginning or end, so we're not ending, we're just at a certain point in time, and inquiry proceeds at its own pace. And so sort of leading this initiative, I had sort of an idea of where we wanted to go with Indigenous perspectives, social emotional learning, and universal design for learning. I would say we've focused on social emotional learning this year. We've begun to really think about Indigenous perspectives and ways we can bring that in, and I'm really pleased to see how Robin's included this work in her school learning plan in a meaningful way. And we've talked with the staff about how probably our next steps would be really trying to get more of that family caretaker voice involved in the process, as well as student voice, and universal design for learning. So once you know this information about your wonder child and the learners in your class, what design decisions are you going to be making to your environment, to your lesson planning, to your way of being with the kids? Based on the information that you know, and what really special, thoughtful, strength-based conversations are you going to be having with the the class loading team about where this wonder child could potentially thrive next school year. So yeah, that's what we wanted to share today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from trustees? Well, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. for the presentation. I hope you can hear me. Okay, I'll try and articulate louder. This just brings me back to the work of Sandy Blackard. She always says that kids need three things: experience, connection, and power. And so just any work that focuses you on that connection piece, like you said, Robin, learning how to do this in focusing on one kid is one thing, but now that you know how to do this work, you'll be able to do it with multiple kids at one time. And I'm just so happy to hear about what you're doing. Thank you so much, Heather and Robin, for coming to speak to us today.
I'm just going to chime in too. I love seeing these, I love seeing anything to do with inquiry. So I give you all the points for that. Just a question, and it's a curiosity more than anything. Does the Wonder Child know that they are the Wonder Child? Like, do you, Robin, you have one. Does the child know that you're the Wonder parent?
I don't, everybody, you know what, I think we've talked about this early on. We left it up to the staff to decide what they wanted to do. I personally did not tell my Wonder Child. And what I shared at the last staff meeting was one of the reasons why I picked the kid was because in my role, they kept showing up at the office and they were not necessarily always in trouble, but it was often like an injury or I can't focus and I need redirection. And they were just, or they were just stopping by and having a chat. And I was like, I wonder what's going on with this kiddo. So, I've never explicitly said that to the kid, but I've built a relationship with that kid. And secondarily, I've built a relationship with a lot of those kids' friends because I see them outside at recess a lot. So I'll go check in. I've also connected with a lot of their classmates that perhaps I wouldn't have had the same relationship with now because I'm going in and checking on them. But of course, I'm not making it look like I'm picking one kid over everybody else. So I think part of that, you know, taking that learning and spreading it to over to other kids and to all of the kids, I think ends up being part of the process. But I'm curious. It's a good question that I think I will follow up with the staff at our next staff meeting. And that might be our circle conversation is, did you tell them why not? Would you do it differently next year? Because we're starting to think about how we're going to continue the work next year. But in some cases, our kids would be with a new teacher. So.
And knowing how sharp kids are, I would be surprised if they didn't catch on.
It's a good point. And we, in years past, you know, we had permission forms in that we would need to get signed. And so families would know that their child was participating. And we've done it before where Dixie and I have done it where the child did know, and we actually made a gift for the child at the end of the year and things like that. This year we get to make it up as we go. And we had some of those conversations with the staff early on because they kind of said, well, do we need to get, you know, permission for this and that type of thing? So we talked it through and, you know, I kind of asked them, you know, is it your job as an educator to listen closely to children and observe? And they said, yes. Is it your job to have meaningful conversations with families about their child? They said, yes, you know, and all those questions. So I said, okay, so this is actually part of your work. Now, if we chose to share, you know, a specific story about a child or name a child or that in this setting or with another district or that, we would need permission for that. But this is actually part of our everyday work.
Right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Lisa's got her hand up. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Heather, I know your background with some ECE stuff as well. And this is much like we do in our practicum. Wouldn't you say, the practicums for ECE, you're honing in on the one that you're assigned and building all the network for that student and learning. I mean, by default, you learn about the whole entire class, but it's interesting to see the ECE world coming in. Anyway, thank you.
It's honestly, Lisa, that's a really good point. And I think that was one of the questions that I had initially was like, why would we not do this for every grade or every kid? I would see lots of value of doing this in high school. I think there's no reason why we wouldn't each pick a kid. Every teacher is wondering about some of their kids. And so I think it might have come from an EC background, but I really value it just for human beings in general and educators. So I think it would be I would certainly be game if Heather wanted to try it at the high school. I'd tag team with her on anything, any day.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I can't resist the superintendent. I have to say something. I've just really enjoyed watching the evolution of this from the first run through, and just thanking Heather for her insights into how to make it even more inclusive as we go forward. I know, we always say, oh, it's about 10 minutes, but these types of presentations are so very valuable, and I really appreciate the time that we took. I actually want the whole slide deck. I want to look through it all. Just thanking all of you for the work, and I can't wait for next year to see where we land there. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Rebecca, do you have your hand up?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, on my slide.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers. Oh yeah, weird. We're having some technical issues this evening, sorry.
It's up on my slide.
Now you understand when I question what I see.
I know, it's like.
Like, we don't see that.
Okay, so Robin and Heather, you're invited to stay, or you might have other things to do. I don't know. It's up to you.
Thanks, April.
Thank you. Thanks once again for joining us. That was
Thanks,
wonderful.
everyone.
Thanks to the others on screen too. I see some other visitors. Thank you for being here.
That's our next presentation. Yeah.
I'm with you.
But thank you. Wow.
There it is.
Okay, here we go. So under student staff presentation, we now have representation from Garibaldi Islands. And I see Crystal and I see Kate. Go ahead, whoever started.
Hi, folks. Thanks for having us. I have a presentation. You're able to see it. I can maybe share my screen and give it a share.
Okay, that sounds good.
If you can holler, yes, we can see it.
Crystal, maybe you want to, I didn't do a very good job of introducing you, so maybe you want to start with that.
I will do that. Yeah. Can you see my screen as well?
Yeah, I can see your screen and we can see you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry I can't be there in person tonight. We'll have to save that for another time. But I'm Crystal Tinbrink, and I work as the executive director for the nonprofit Squamish Can Climate Action Network. And we've been around since 2009, and we've been partnering with the school district starting at Mamquam School since 2015. So we've had a long-standing relationship, and it's really exciting to be here tonight with KM to share our next project.
I think probably most people know KM, but I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself too.
Hi, I'm Cam, and principal of Garibaldi Highlands Elementary, and I'm really excited to be working with Crystal on this project. I worked with her a little bit on the one at Squamish Elementary when it started up, and it's all I wanted to do since. So I'm glad that we're finally getting there.
Okay, thank you. So I think take it away, Crystal.
Thanks. We'll keep it brief because I know you folks have a full agenda, I've been told. And so many of you probably have been to some of this Mamquam School, Valley Cliff, the school farm at Howsound Secondary and Squamish Elementary, and also the garden at Squamish Elementary. So we've got a few physical projects that we've actually built and collaborated with, and it's been over a decade of working together, and it's been so incredible and fun. And across the province, we're really known for Squamish is actually really known to, now that most of our public schools have school garden programs, we're really known for that across the province, and people always come here to learn from us. So it's really exciting to be able to kind of set the bar. And I think most of the times people are really jealous of our really great partnerships with School District 48. So incredibly grateful for that. Just wanted to kind of share a little bit of a very quick journey, and then KM and I are going to dive into Garibaldi Highlands Elementary. But yeah, just MAMQUAM, kind of reflecting back when Rosemary was the principal. We established the school in 2015. It's our longest running garden. And, you know, this strange design happened because kids wanted to play on the swing set, get off the swings, and run straight through the garden into the field. And so while this is not the most functional for growing food, you know, the students at the beginning have always been shaping the gardens and how they want to interact with them, including the parents and the teachers. So it's been really fun. This particular project actually grows food, grows flowers, herbs, and vegetables that actually go towards some sales in order to help make these projects financially self-sustainable. And then we did it again in 2001. We did a rebuild of the Garibaldi Elementary Garden, and this was super fun. Had lots of parents, lots of folks really engaged, and really bringing folks together to help build the project. Some things that we hear about this particular project is that they're really passionate about the garden worms. And anytime they come up when they're digging through the soil or planting things, they're always saving the worms. We're also told that some of the older class students are helping with the younger classes and have developed some leadership skills and some really cool garden activities to kind of share back with them. So it's really nice to see that cyclical, you know, the sort of action happening around food and gardens and natural systems and leadership happening as well. And then the next year we built the downtown school farm at Howe Sound Secondary, and this project has so many stats I could share with you, but I just took a chance and just shared a quick highlight that we've received, you know, provincial recognition. I actually am working and coaching other school farms in the northern regions of BC to help guide and support on how to ensure that when you establish this type of program that you're working really closely with the schools and integrating electives or different other type of credits, which is what we did at this school. And this to date, we have fundraised over $400,000. That does not include the sales of the farm stand as well, year to year. And then shortly after that, we worked with KM when she was at Squamish Elementary, and we designed and established the Squamish Elementary Garden, which is just to the south side of the farm. And it's still, you know, every year when you build these programs, they're always morphing and changing, and the students want to do different things, and they really grow over the years, and plants get established, and there's art that, you know, get thrown in the garden. As you can see, one of our local residents, Roger, built this really cool driftwood structure, and there's a whole story and narrative. Her name is Bean Woman, and the kids really love her and have given her sort of like a story, like what's been her journey to contribute to being Bean Woman. I'll hand it over to KM now to share a little bit about some of the engagement and feedback we got that shaped the Garibaldi Highlands Elementary program.
Thanks, Crystal. So when I got to Garibaldi Highlands, like one of my first questions is, why don't we have a Squamish Can garden here? We clearly need one. And then after a bit of digging, I found out that it had been planned. And everybody was really passionate about it, but it just sort of didn't work out with the team the way it was. So I contacted Crystal, and we started the process of re-engaging all the different partner groups again. So first we went to the staff and we did a staff survey and just tried to figure out if everybody was still super interested or not. Overwhelmingly, all of the teachers were like, we thought this was happening, but it never did. And we're so happy that it's back. So that was good to hear. And then after we knew that all the teachers were excited and on board, we sent out a parent feedback form. Parents overwhelmingly are interested, can't wait to have it at the school. Then after that, I think that's when we met with the PAC executive. We met with the PAC executive. They had a few insights on like what was important to them. They asked their questions. Since they're paying for a significant portion of it, they really had a lot more questions than everybody else, which was great. But we're overall really excited to make it happen. They've dedicated a significant portion of like their budget over last year and this year for this garden. Then we wanted to engage the students. So all the classes, we actually sent out an invitation saying like, who wants to have Crystal and her team come and talk about the garden in their class? And every single class signed up. And so all of the students got to have some input. There was some really cute things, like you can see those pictures on the side. The primary boys love digging in the dirt, so that was like really important to them that they have somewhere that they can dig, because we don't let them dig holes in the forest since people might break their ankle. So you know, things like that. It was really important that we work it in. Some of the teachers whose classrooms are where the garden would be, one of their things is I still want to be able to look out of my window and see the view. So it's important that we're not, you know, putting big structures in front of their window and such. So yeah, the teachers and the students had quite a lot of contribution into that process. And then finally, after we had all of that, last year at our PAC AGM, we had another presentation where Crystal came and spoke and made sure, showed this, made sure everybody was still on board. And that's when we kind of started looking for volunteers. And that's kind of where our engagement journey is now.
Yeah, so I think maybe just some quick highlights in terms of timeline is we're looking to get started probably June, July. We have a parent that has 3 kids at the school who's willing to do the hardscaping. So that's all of the machine work, which is incredible, and we'll not do it for free, but do it for a good deal, which is great. So we can get sort of the main bulk of the hardscaping done. And we're really focused on making it incredibly accessible, super safe. We know that doing a multi-level garden, I think when you first think of it, you're like, oh, well, what does that look like exactly? And so we're working with the operations team to make sure that it's super safe and we can kind of adjust and make adjustments as needed. We're really looking forward to working with the school and having the first year in the fall doing having our staff do the garden education. And I think year after year, these projects, they're not just the sort of the day-to-day, the way in which kids are interacting with these spaces. It's not just during facilitated time. Teachers can use this outside of teaching time. They can use it for so many different curriculum tie-ins. There's also just kids that really like to spend time, like free time in there. We heard from some kids at this particular school that they wanted some like a quiet space, like a space for observation, perhaps some art, some reading, like whatever, like just different spaces. So it's not always just grow food. It's grow food. It's learn about Indigenous ways of knowing. It's understanding native plants and really being able to like see, touch, smell, taste, like all those sort of things. And our team does lots of cooking. And so we're hoping, we want kids to get curious. We want people to try new things in a safe space. And we really have seen like a direct correlation of kids being a bit braver and trying new foods. We hear some really cool feedback from parents year after year saying, so my kid will eat kale when it's in the class and they can pick it, but they won't eat it when I put it on their plate. So there's, we hear all kinds of really fun feedback items from parents all the time. And I just wanted to kind of summarize by just sharing a little bit that we actually have helped, in all of the years of working together, we've been able to bring just over $600,000 in funding, external funding from different funders, including community grassroots fundraising. And I did in particular just wanted to do a big thank you to leadership, to the school administration, to PACs, principals, staff, school board staff for the collaboration and support over the last decade. They've been so incredible at taking chances and trying, building these collaborations up and helping us process grants. And it's really taken so much behind the scenes work to make these projects happen. And people like KM to say like, yeah, we want one of these at our school. Let's make this happen. So just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you.
I see Lisa has her hand up. Go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, you know I'm gonna have my hand up. I love working with Christy. Big supporter of Squamish Can and everything you do for our student learning in all of our schools. I've been volunteering a couple of days up at Valley Cliff, and KM knows the second she needs seeds, I've got some baby plants ready for you to pop in there. I have them stored, ready to go. I will be walking up there regularly. So what do you need from us, KM? What do you need? It looks beautiful. The plan is incredible. I love it. Thank you. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. It's, I think a lot of people in the Highlands are looking for something that brings the community together. And I think a garden always brings the community together. So hopefully that does happen. And, I also love gardening. So we're all kind of sold. We have quite a few parents that are really keen. So that's exciting. Celeste, I see has her hand.
Celeste, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I love that there is an acknowledgement of it being a place where kids can also regulate themselves and find peace in the day. So important. So many learning opportunities, but also a place to just maybe find a space where they can bring the energy level down or regulate and then go back to whatever they're doing. So it looks beautiful. I can't wait to see it.
And Cynthia has her hand up. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Last year when I attended the Canadian School Board Association, there was a presentation. Don't remember the people who did the presentation, but it was an organization that would come to your school and help transform your school's playground. And the example that they gave was a school in Toronto that had a lot of asphalt in the playground, and they were going to transform it into this outdoor space that was full of nature and plants and garden things and all of these sort of natural features for the children, saying that, transitioning from this asphalt playground to this more lush environment is going to be good for all of the things like self-regulation and learning opportunities and all those good things. And this came at a tremendous expense. And so I just like to say thank you to all of the people who are doing this work and bringing these advantages to our students and to our school district for what appears to be not a tremendous expense.
We're also
in saying that it's not a tremendous expense, but it seems like there's a lot of volunteers who are working to help make this happen. So I think
there's some volunteers that are really,
yeah,
really
we're very grateful. Sorry, you were probably going to say it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we have a few volunteers that are working really hard, and we're super grateful, especially for the one who's offering the hardscaping. Like he's offering it at a cost, but it's like at cost. So all of his time and all of his machine and everything is all. Yeah.
600,000 in grants. Thank you. Is no small feat as well. And just very proud to be part of this district with this collective support for gardens, for folks to especially young people to understand where their food comes from. And really thankful. And I think, that your comments about the Toronto School Board, it's many school boards around the districts around the province, especially in Metro, who don't have the space that we have. And so, just thankful for that we're actually able to add to the beautiful grounds that we have in the district across most sites to do this work. And super humbled to be part of this district and super thankful to all the hands that go into making this a reality. And my apologies earlier, I was on the wrong agenda. I was thinking, wait a minute, I knew this was coming up. So thank you for that. But I also know that KM's a huge Spiral of Inquiry person. So I thought, oh, she's here just to support the Wonder Child work. But obviously there's Crystal. So anyway, I'm awake now. All good. Thank you so much.
Lisa, is your hand up again or still?
Yeah, I just had one question just to be mindful of too, though, KM, is sunshade. It is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. I've just had my checks. And it is something that I'm advocating for pretty hard across anywhere that I'm involved, is just making sure that the kids have that sun protection between 10 and 2. Between 10 and 2, it's really, really important. So anyway, that is my only caveat. You know, I love it. You know, I support it. And yeah.
She's gonna be up there digging with the kids.
Oh, I am.
Sure.
Oh, I am.
I can visualize it.
Valley Cliff is going to be upset because I'm gonna have to
She's
like
gonna
have,
be up in the Highlands digging with all
Yep.
the kids.
yeah.
The glorious thing about and like Chris sort of alluded to this, is that we have this big, beautiful green space and this big, beautiful forest that the students get to play and sleep and read and make forts all the time. So, while we want them to garden, we also want them to enjoy the forest still. And have it.
Rebecca had her.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what everyone else is saying, that it's an amazing project, and we are very fortunate to be able to do these at many of our schools. We're sitting in Pemberton Secondary right now, and I saw their harvest boxes that are listed now for sale. And I just wanted to mention too, so my grandson goes to Blackwater Creek, and my granddaughter is only 2, so they're 2 and 7. And my daughter and I just started putting in a garden, and both of them are just so excited. And poor Ivy, we couldn't help but laugh, but she's 2 years old, and she turned the sprayer all the wrong way and got herself in the face, and she was quite shocked. But just, they're coming in and they're barefoot and they're dirty, and they couldn't be any happier. So, great work, ladies. Thank you so much.
And so true that a child will eat a pea out of a garden, but if you put it on their plate, there's zero chance.
Or they can walk in other people's houses and not at yours.
Yeah, and Rebecca, we're actually in touch with the Pemberton folks at Pemberton Secondary as well. They came out for a big tour 2 years ago or last year, so we are in touch with them as well and sharing some lessons learned and things like that. So it's really great to have that regional connection.
That's amazing.
If you can just tell me a cure for cutworms, then we can leave this conversation. I too will be happy. Anyway, sorry, just a little sidebar with me and my.
I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to thank you, Crystal. Crystal and I have been working together for 5 years. We do a lot of work behind the scenes with the grants and memorandums of understanding and contracts, and she's also running like part of our Feeding Teachers program. So thank you so much for all of your advocacy, and recently they just received charitable donation status or charity status. So congratulations on that again, Crystal. So
thanks,
that's no easy feat.
no, she's been waiting for a long time. So really happy for her.
Yeah, and while we've been waiting, Danielle and team have been supporting us so much with being able to, collaborate on grants and things like that. So the collaboration, regardless, will continue to happen, but at least now we can do less administrative work. But thanks again for all that.
That's right.
Okay, any other comments or questions for our team? Do we need to do anything beyond that? We're good? It's just a presentation?
Yeah, we've supported the use of the land, so I don't think it needs a motion or anything.
Okay.
I don't believe.
Okay,
Great.
so we're good.
Danielle, make sure.
Okay, good luck, guys. You're good to go, and we look forward to seeing the garden.
We look forward
Again,
to
an
you.
invitation to stay for the rest of the board meeting if you'd like, but you're also welcome and free to say goodbye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Good night.
Good night.
I won't stay and distract Lisa. Have a good night.
Bye. Great, where are we now? Oh, okay, now it's your turn.
Finally.
It's your turn. I didn't think. it was
Thank you
gonna
for
be
waiting.
happening, But
Give you that.
go ahead.
Testing. Thank you.
Yep.
It's only mildly intimidating.
Oh, so we're really relaxed.
All right. Well, great to meet you. I'm Anastasia Kogan. I am a parent of a 5-year-old that is attending Squamish Elementary, an amazing school, 5-star review so far. Thank you. I am Squamish resident, living at Sea and Sky community, which is just across the water from downtown. Also, just to add new developments since I put the deck together, as of yesterday, I will be stepping into a role of a DPAC representative for the next school year.
Thank
So
you.
I will be joining the next DPAC meeting, and I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you in that capacity, but unrelated entirely to the subject of this presentation. And thank you for letting me be here today. I have some early childhood education teaching experience in one of my past lives, and this has been just such a reminder of the positive energy that the space carries. And I feel like my heart grew a couple of sizes. I feel slightly awkward at maybe changing the tone a little bit because my content is a little more on the somber side. So apologies for that. But thank you for all of you for doing this incredible work and for all the presentations. It was just amazing. So moving on to why I'm here today, and next slide, please. My ask here is to ask of you of the board to communicate with the Squamish Council, specifically on the subject of location of a proposed low barrier transitional housing, which is currently proposed to be directly on the only pedestrian school route from the residential community that I happen to be resident of. Next slide, please. I don't know if any of you know what the HEART program with the BC Housing is. Maybe if you do, wave your hand. Some of you do. I'll give a little bit of a background for others. I'll keep it very brief and just relevant to our topic. It's a provincial program. Squamish has had an encampment challenge for a number of years now. There are over 100 people that are unhoused and residing in camps on the outskirts of the downtown community. These are predominantly people that have both mental health challenges, substance abuse challenges, so they don't meet the criteria to use the shelter beds at Under One Roof, which is our shelter in town. And they're obviously staying in very unhealthy, unsanitary conditions. There's crime, etc. So the city has made it their priority to try and improve that situation. They have succeeded in applying to a new-ish provincial program, which is called HEART. It's basically deploying temporary, so like 5 years, modular housing that they look to deploy really quickly, set up services. The main feature that's relevant to us here today of this program is it's low barrier. So people who can't stay at the shelter because they're active users, they can access this facility. They're allowed to use drugs in their private rooms. They have overdose prevention sites indoors and outdoors, which obviously helps with the overdose problem that we're looking at in BC. But that brings us to the next challenge, which is the location of the proposed site. To date, only one location has been proposed by the municipality to the BC Housing Authority for evaluation. And I'll show on the next slide where that's located. So there's a little map there. I don't know if you can see it well, but the area in the red is where that proposed wet facility is located, wet being the reference to the drug policy. The circle is where the Sea and Sky community is. We're at about 500 households today. Community is new. It was only beginning occupancy in 2020, so it's grown rapidly. There are about 200 more households that are going to be built and occupied in the next 2 years, and then more and more after that. And then the thing that we've been waiting for since occupying that community is the new pedestrian bridge that they're putting in downtown, connecting that community to downtown. The community is designed to be pedestrian heavy, bike focused. There's like limited parking opportunities. So there's a lot of weight put on that bridge that's supposed to open later this year after a few delays. It will be on the next slide. Oh, no worries. And maybe we can display the next slide now. I've kind of marked the possible walking routes from our community to the both Squamish Elementary and the secondary school. We're mostly elementary heavy at the moment. The community really leans heavily towards young families. So many babies there. Squamish Elementary needs to take into account for sure for future years of growth. Just the way the units are designed, they're really conducive to young families. So the route that's marked in red there, that's the train bridge, which people walk. It's illegal to walk. There are like massive gaps that one could fall through. I don't think anybody has, but it's certainly illegal. The second route that is currently available is taking a bridge over a highway. To get there, you need to first walk through a gas station and then cross a blind corner, which is an exit ramp from a highway, unmarked for pedestrians. And then you're on the highway bridge, and the bridge has a railing that has massive gaps. My own child has fallen through one of those gaps. Fortunately, the beginning of it with his entire bike. Fortunately, it was at the beginning of the bridge where it's like a 2-meter drop into blackberry bush and not a few meters down where it's like 5-meter drop into the tree line. But mine and my husband's hands were shaking for the next couple of days. So it's not considered a safe route. And for that reason, the developer that's building the bridge currently, for the last few years, has been running a temporary school bus from our community to Squamish Elementary and other schools, recognizing that because of the bridge delays, they're impeding kids' ability getting to school safely. Now, the moment they open the bridge, they will stop running that temporary bus. So then we're in a position where the proposed facility is directly at the foot of the bridge. There's no other way to walk around. It's not really like a downtown intersection where you could choose to take a different parallel street or anything like that. It's like you're basically looking at kids from 500 households now, 700 plus households in the future, twice a day, crossing right past a facility with potentially challenging safety situation. And the next slide, please.
Just before you move on, I'm sorry.
Go back.
Go ahead.
Or should go back one.
That's okay. I have it anyway. Do you have any idea what kind of numbers they're proposing for this wet facility?
The numbers?
Yeah.
I believe it's 60 beds.
60 beds?
Yeah.
So 60 individuals.
Yeah. BC Housing is supposed to come in and do a presentation to the District of Squamish, open to the public in a few weeks. They haven't really given a date yet, but that's what we've heard about the size. Now, what do we know from other communities? This program has been deployed to a few communities fully as phase 1. Squamish is part of phase 2. So there are quite a few smaller and larger municipalities that we can look to for their lessons learned. And we know that the projects have very variable safety challenges post-deployment. I've attached in my references there an article where users, like even people that are staying in the facility that don't themselves have substance use programs, don't feel safe necessarily in the residences. We also know that school boards have been very influential in other municipalities in impacting decisions on site selection. So where school boards have spoken up, it made a difference. And we also know that the district is key in the site selection they're collaborating with BC Housing as the province, but the workflow is the municipality brings sites for BC Housing evaluation. So there is an opportunity for the school board to communicate to the district to encourage them to drop this location and strongly consider other opportunities. They originally only proposed one site to the province. Since the community has sort of rallied around this location, there's a petition with lots of signatures. There's been a lot of engagement of different groups. They have started looking at alternative sites. Some developers came up with basically saying they can offer other pieces of land downtown where things could be deployed quickly enough. But things move slowly. And we're not certain that this location will be dropped. And it's a fast moving program because they really want to deploy this year before winter comes. So I do think that any timely support from other groups would be appreciated.
So should we be addressing housing or the district of Squamish?
The district, because they bring the sites to BC Housing to evaluate. Yeah. Why on the next slide, why do I think it's relevant to this group? As a school board, I do think student safety is your top of mind. And I know you guys have been engaging heavily on the transportation to Whistler subject. This sort of feels like the same challenge. And I know you're not obligated to provide school bus transportation, but should things deteriorate, it may come down to requiring a school bus. If like it's just unpredictable, you can't really plan well in advance for a municipality with stretched resources, maintaining safety around individuals that have a mix of both substance abuse and mental health challenges, right? So that brings me to the conclusion, the motion where I would ask that the board would consider passing a motion tonight, directing perhaps the chair to write a letter to the council supporting the direction towards alternative locations and stating that placing a facility like this specifically directly along the only school route for a large community would not be appropriate with student safety in mind.
Do you have any questions before we?
They have explored alternate sites in Squamish. I'm just asking if they've explored alternate sites in Squamish.
So when the application was provided to BC Housing, only one site was included in that application. They've started looking at alternate sites only in the last few weeks when the community has started heavily encouraging that. But it's been very slow in and some conflicting information or contradictory statements have been made in various sources and forums.
Yeah, and then how far are we? Maybe you covered this in the approval process. So this, you would want, your request is for us to write a letter to the district?
Right.
So they're the ones that are exploring this and applying for it with BC Housing? Is that how?
So BC Housing already accepted Squamish's application and have selected Squamish so they have the funding pegged for Squamish. The next thing they need is a site. So they're in a process. So BC Housing has their own criteria for site evaluation. It has to be accessible. It has to be, they have to be able to deploy it quickly. It needs to be close to other services. so they're reviewing the site whether it meets BC housing criteria. So Squamish still has an opportunity to present other site options for BC housing evaluation. Those sites would still need to meet the same criteria, and that would be up to BC housing to respond on.
That the site would have been shown and would meet those. Oh, sorry. My guess would be that the site that they have presented would meet the threshold for BC housing, or they wouldn't have put that site forward, probably.
So far, Squamish Council stated that they don't actually know what BC housing criteria necessarily is. So it was more around what land they thought they could easily get, because Squamish, the city doesn't own a lot of land, and working with private parcels is a lot more work. You need contracts in place. You need so they were taking a bit of a shortcut.
Okay. I see Celeste.
Can I finish?
Oh,
You
sorry.
jumped in before.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's right. I just wanted to add, like, I feel for you. I totally understand, but I also know individuals on the other side of this, and the necessity for safety for those with especially multiple barriers, addictions, and mental health, and whatnot. And I can empathize. I took a wrong turn in Vancouver and went through some of these areas with my 7-year-old grandson who was mortified and stuff. But I also have I have a best friend whose daughter is living in one of those facilities, and it's keeping her alive at this point. So I just I can see both sides of it, and you know, I get it. I would probably advocate as well in my neighborhood.
Well, I think it's probably important to note that so far, all the conversations that the community had so far is everybody's supportive of the program. And there are parcels, private parcels downtown, literally blocks, like few blocks away. There are several parcels that the community has been proposing to quickly consider and evaluate and work through the literally developers have been offering them up. So the community wants this to happen.
Just
And
I get the
and they're
like
they're really close locations where this could work. So it's not really about like, don't make it close to us, just like shift it a couple of blocks. There are places available. They're just a little bit more work to arrange. And the worst outcome that nobody definitely wants is that they don't take the time to consider the alternate sites. This one falls through because there's so much pushback, and then the funding goes to the next municipality, because it has happened in other locations. So what we really, really want to encourage the district to do is to really devote the resources early in this process to look at those alternate locations properly. And resources, of course.
Okay. Celeste.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming and making the trip from Squamish to Pemberton to present to us today, Anastasia. It takes a lot of work to do advocacy, and so really appreciate hearing from you. My thoughts on this are perhaps not that the school district should take a position about safety or anything like that, but it might not be inappropriate for the school district to ask questions about site impact in relation to safe routes to school. So if the board were considering doing anything, it sounds as though your request is for us to give an opinion on safety, and I don't think that we can do that because we don't have enough information, but potentially asking a question about the considerations that have been given for the impact on us. Is that a designated safe route to school? One of the designated routes, that walking bridge?
There is currently technically no route because the bridge isn't open yet. So right now there is no route from our community to the school.
And Chris, do you know if it will be designated?
Yeah, it is likely to be so. That is what we would be recommending. that it be designated a safe route to school. So I again appreciate the delegation, and maybe just point of order for the board. So usually when there's a delegation, usually it's a presentation, there's questions, and then a response to the ask is provided by the next board meeting. But given the time constraints and the ask, what the board could choose to do is to put a motion to have after the end of this board meeting to have an in-camera conversation about next steps. Or we also have May 20th as a day that we're meeting, as an alternate day for the board. So just to provide, again, to ensure that your policies around conversations and debates that happen after. And I will say very thorough, and I just will say I also appreciate the dignity in which you shared in the language that you used, and I thank you very much for that. But just as a point, we don't, the board wouldn't.
Make a decision right now.
That's right.
No, I'm aware.
So you've got that
I'm aware of that we don't make a decision right now, but, and that's what I was going to ask. What is our timeline? Like, it does feel like this is, you know, I also live in the community and I feel the urgency around it. So how much time do we have to write this letter and get it to the appropriate people and make a difference?
The short answer would be, I don't know. I've tried to ask the timeline question from the council. They weren't able to share any specifics at all. But I feel like the sooner they devote more resources to alternate site evaluation, the sooner they'll be able to complete the most important next step, which is finalize the site, move on to the deployment and services planning.
So May 20th is a week away. Or we could discuss it. How about we thank you for your presentation, and we understand the seriousness of it.
Oh, we've got Lisa.
Sorry.
That is totally okay. I'd like to really thank you for the presentation. And Chris, I do like the suggestion of perhaps moving into in-camera later, if we may. I too feel April's urgency on at least getting some information back to council regarding the safe routes to school. These are so important to our kids and families getting to and from school. And yeah, I think it wouldn't hurt to have that on the record for them to make sure that that's the evaluation criteria without taking one position or another. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Go ahead, Celeste.
Yeah, it looked as though you didn't maybe understand what I was saying, April, before. I just want to make sure that we're not taking a position on safety, right? Or to Rebecca's point, you know, making sure that anything that may be said eventually, if the board decides to take action on this, that we're careful in our communication and not, you know, creating any stigma around the site. It's really just a question of what are the safety considerations that the district has contemplated in choosing that site, given that we likely will have a safe route to school right through that area without judgment.
Okay, so I think that we can thank nobody ever says that.
Okay, I don't see any other hands. I think that we're good. I don't see any hands online, and I don't see any hands in the room. So I'm going to try again. Say thank you so much for your presentation. Know that we will take it into consideration whether we're going to have an in-camera at the end of this at the end of the public meeting, or we're going to move it to May 20th. We will act on it as soon as we possibly can. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. And it was really a pleasure to be here. Again, thank you for your work.
Welcome to stay.
Well, I don't want to delay your in-camera portion.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Moving on to number 6, trustee strategic plan update. Most of us were involved in that, so I'm going to put it out to trustees who want to speak to it. Who wants to go first? Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
I wrote something down, but I should like review what I wrote before I speak. It's much better.
Okay.
If someone wants to go before me, they can. But if
Well, I could just open it up to, I did mention it in the trustee comments. We did have a strategic planning update of all representatives of all the partner groups. Chris led the day and did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I know
It
you
was
were.
supposed to be Kevin, so
I
I'm
know.
glad I did okay.
Sure.
I was.
Because it wasn't Kevin, but I thought you did a great job.
Thank you
So,
for that.
like I said, there were representatives from all of the partner groups. We got to see and hear what the summary was of all of the input from each of those groups. Then collectively, as a large group, and we were selected at the table in which we sat, so that every table had, you know, a trustee and administrator, and all of the different groups were represented at each table. So, you know, very much like the format that we use at the partner group meeting in Whistler. So that's what we did. And now I'm going to turn it out to trustees to comment on how they felt it ran, or what they got out of it, or whatever they want to say. Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
I just want to echo what April said, that it was really well put on, Chris. Thank you. It was really thoughtful, and I appreciated how we were broken out. It felt very much like partner group meeting. And it was, I think, really important for us to see the common themes that were throughout all of the groups that you had previously done. And I know you had said that you put it through Claude, so that it simplified it and brought everything together. So I really appreciated having the time to be able to look through it as a group too. And sometimes what one person would read isn't necessarily what the other person understood it to be. So it was great to have that ability to speak as a group at the table, even though it got really loud at some points, but it was
It's really
you could feel the excitement in the room of knowing that it's important work. So I appreciated the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Who else was added? Cynthia, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll go ahead. I wrote down 3 key takeaways from the day. And the first was that I appreciate that this is still like a living document, that the work that we did at that session was in no ways the last say, that it was just sort of a check-in to make sure that we were all on the same page. And I think that's really great. The second takeaway was that this strategic plan is not only focused on outcomes, but it addresses the organizational culture and relationships, which I'm not necessarily sure that we had a big focus on that on our last strategic plan, but it seemed like through the engagement that we did, this was a topic that shone through. And so it was really nice to see that represented. And then the last thing, maybe I read my second living document. No, number 1 and number 2 kind of talked about living documents. So only 2 key takeaways. I had a question, but I think I'm going to leave the question.
I think the format too, and I know that Paul spoke to this when we were there. We went back to that old format of, you know, papers on the wall with all of the statements. And then after everybody had generated all of their thoughts on all the different colored stickies, then we went around with the dots, like the you know, the adhesive different colored red dots, blue dots, orange dots. And so when we left the meeting, there was representation of the work that we collectively did. So I think I'm going to now, unless there's any other trustee that wants to speak, and I don't see any, I'm going to turn it over to Chris
I know I'm kind of throwing this at you,
Okay,
but just about next steps.
absolutely, I'm
Okay.
ready.
I kind of figured you would.
Okay, kind
So-
of sort of like what my question was.
Good, next steps.
Okay.
So our next steps, I'll take it back to the wonderful work all of you trustees took part in that could around the strategic direction. So the next step is actually your meeting with us, and it will be submitted by Kevin to again revisit that work that was done to try and get that a little bit tighter. And in relation to, again, everything you heard at the strategic plan working group meeting, what will happen is that Kevin will next be working with the district team around a survey that's going to go out, and it will be incorporating the work that the board's doing. And so this is the next stage of input and check-in with the working group. So there will be a survey out to the working group from May 27th to June 5th. And then district staff will again look at, collate, organize all of that. And then we meet again, and we will have some potential priority goals coming out of that we will then take back to our next working group session, which will be June 16th, which is already a day that we had put aside for ILT. And ILT is super excited to say, of course, we'll host that day with the rest of the working group. So that's kind of a teaser of what's happening. I'm really excited about the 20th and the work of the board around.
That's May.
I'm sorry, May 20th.
May 20th.
Yeah, which will again help put us in good stead for the survey that we want to go out, because we're bringing it all together now, right? Because the working group will also see, oh, this is where the board has arrived at, given the input, and now we're aligning on the same page, and now we can get into hopefully some of the meat. We just want to ensure, again, always going back to community, always going back to the working group. Have we captured what you said, right? We want people to feel heard. Doesn't mean everything that people say gets into a strat plan, right? To be clear, we'll have to make some decisions and align those with our values and our responsibilities as a district. But again, super important that we acknowledge where we're going. And I thank you for recognizing, the work done in the relationship piece. I think that is something the board committed to when we're doing the plan about everyone's wellness, including staff, and of course really ensuring that throughout is that underpinning of acknowledgement, celebration, and integration of distinctions-based Indigenous ways of knowing as well. So exciting times ahead. And I was just really pleased by everyone's engagement. And yeah, it got loud. I tried to be a teacher and talk about the rule, but that's okay, because when people are excited, you know it was good thinking and sharing. So,
and I'm glad you reminded us that there was a lot of discussion about the wellness of everybody in the organization. Obviously the students are the focus, but there was an acknowledgement through the process that we're talking about the wellness of everybody. So thank you for catching that, because we missed it. Okay, any other comments or questions about our strat plan? So May 20th is our next. Okay. Moving on to number 7, board committees, public relations, community engagement, and communications committee. I've got Melissa and Rachel on there. Have you met? No. Okay.
we kind of feel the work we've been doing with the working, like that's all. That's a lot of public engagement, right? We didn't need to
No kidding.
meet about it.
Okay. Okay, next is the committee of the whole. So today we met for committee of the whole, and we had a fairly large agenda, as most of our agendas today have been. Danielle shared about how busy May and June are and all the upcoming things on our calendar. We had a big discussion about the recent AGM, BCSTA AGM. That part. Okay, we talked quickly about our education topics. And if you were interested in the whole of the meeting, it is available online. So you can watch it in that way. So moving past that. The policy.
Make the recommendation
Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead, yep.
for the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on April 8th, 2026 be adopted.
Thank you, Rebecca. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lisa, and all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay. A quick recap of the policy meeting. Where did the policy meeting go? Okay, we had quite a few, we had 5 policies. Bylaw 200.1 is, well, is it brought forward? Am I right? Yeah, so we'll do that in a minute. The policy 809 video surveillance and policy 710 are going to be put out for public consultation in September. We will have an adoption or recommendation for policy 202 and policy 706. So could I have somebody read the motion for policy 202, please? What? Oh, okay, you want me to do the finance committee first, don't you? Okay, so I think it would be easier that way, but let's do it. So now I gotta find the finance. Yes, here it is. Okay, finance committee. So again, we're going to have motions brought forward later in the meeting. There was a report from Elena on the quarterly financial. There was an update from Danielle. There was a report on the annual facilities grant from Ian, childcare capital project, which somebody mentioned in their trustee thing that we were all quite excited about because we have a potential of getting an operating grant at 2 of our schools. That would be great if that happens. Okay, so that's the summary of the finance. Under general, we have business arising. It looks like we have none. We have information items. Chris has already done the strategic plan update, or we kind of did it collectively. We have some attachments there. We have no correspondence, correct? And nor do we have items for discussion. So now we get to move down to the policy recommendation, policy 202, trustee role. I need somebody to read the recommendation.
I'll go do that for you if you don't mind, April. That the Board of Education approves section 4.16 of policy 202 trustee role as currently written, with the exception of removing the word all and adding notification to the board chair.
And do I have a seconder for that recommendation? Thank you, Melissa, and all in favor.
Question?
Oh, sorry.
Wasn't there something, or did you guys remove that with the
Why
time frame?
No, we never added the time frame.
Oh, it got added and then removed again?
Right. This is the way, this was what we voted on at the meeting.
Okay,
and
I'm
this-
just making sure that
Yeah.
that was it, because at one point it said 24 hours.
Yes,
in
you're right.
advance,
You're
so-
right, but it didn't end up making it into the final one.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask again, all in favor? Okay, and opposed? Okay, and that is carried. Thank you. Could I have somebody read the policy 707, acceptable use of information and communicating technology?
That the Board of Education approve policy 706, acceptable use of information and communications technology as presented.
And a seconder for that motion. Thank you, Melissa. All in favor? And that is carried. We have under action items, we have the annual facilities grant, and again, we have a recommendation.
I'll be pleased to do that for you. Danielle, I just see there we go. Thank you. That the Board of Education approve the annual facilities grant list as presented.
Thank you, Lisa, and a seconder. Thank you, Cynthia, and all in favor. And again, that is carried. The last one in this category, childcare capital project. We have another recommendation.
That the Board of Education support the submission of the childcare capital project to the Ministry of Education and Childcare.
Thank you, Melissa, and a seconder. Thank you, Cynthia, and all in favor. And that is carried. Items to be brought out of camera. None. And now we have bylaw 200.1 2026 trustees election. Danielle, your name is beside there. Are we just going to move to the recommendation? Yes. Okay, could somebody read the recommendation for that one, please?
That the Board of Education unanimously agree to waive the requirement that first, second, and third reading of School District Number 48 Sea to Sky bylaw 200.1-2026 be given on different dates.
And could I, thank you, Melissa. Could I have a seconder? Thank you, Cynthia, and all in favor. And that is carried. Another recommendation.
That the Board of Education give first, second, and third readings to School District Number 48 Sea to Sky bylaw 200.1/2026 as follows. Do I keep reading? Bylaw 200.1-2026 trustee elections. Read a first time on the 13th day of May 2026. Read a second time the 13th day of May 2026. Read a third time passed and adopted on the 13th day of May 2026.
Thank you, Melissa, and a seconder. Thank you, Rebecca, and all in favor. And opposed. Okay, I carried. Thank you. I guess that moves us down to questions of clarification from the public. Thing there, so I move this meeting be adjourned at 7:51. Thank you. Now the public meetings.
It's the